Greetings, family. Welcome back to my channel. I want to speak about black on black crime today, as a story was recently released in which Chicago experienced its most bloody afternoon in 60 years. All right. In Chicago, yesterday there were 18 murders in 24 hours. Okay. This is coming on the heels of the Latin Kings making racially insensitive threats and actually attacking African people. Okay, so coming on the heels of this, there just happens to be a day with 18 murders in the black community or in the Chicago community as a whole. All right, and so, this reminds me of what our brother Zacktv mentioned when he said that it is widely believed that many police are now intentionally creating rifts between these communities by, in some cases, killing individuals and allowing the blame to be placed on a rival community. Okay, now if this is surprising to anyone, consider the fact that in Afghanistan and other Arab nations, there were U.S. soldiers who were caught dressed in Arab attire, um, committing hate crimes, shooting up neighborhoods, and causing there to be a separation between the communities. All right, so it is not surprising when I heard my brother Zach TV say that prior to his death. It always had me thinking, like, is it possible that we are being undermined by the state? Okay, because 18 deaths, people don't even have time to move around. There are curfews. Okay, barring the necessary movements, I don't see people standing up in the open so much with there being so much police presence. I don't see how people are able to do that in rival neighborhoods. All right, that's just not the nature of what we know Chicago to be in terms of the neighborhood affiliations. So it just struck me as odd that in the middle of a shutdown, all right, when freedom hasn't basically been restored as yet, but we find that people are being killed in such a large number in one day. You know, it's no surprise that we have been undermined since the 70s, 60s, since the 50s. All right, we have not been allowed to peacefully coexist without there being intervention and harmful intervention by the state. So it just had me wondering. I would still like to make a comment to our community. We are not without any blame in this situation. We have to recognize that we have one common ancestry. We really should not have any cause to beef with one another when you consider that we are in the middle of an ongoing period of oppression, and this requires us to divorce ourselves of these dogmatic, prejudiced, separatist, and tribal um, affiliations. All right, we need to get back to this whole notion of Pan Africanism, all right, which is all Africanism. We need to find ways to break this grip that this murder culture has had on us for decades. All right, it is being imported, it is being created by forces with ulterior motives. All right, so we need to band together, start to police our communities. All right, whatever the situation is, I'm sure there's a way to make atonement and to find atonement for these situations. All right, it just really takes a sit down with the senior members of these organizations. All right, because many of them actually began as neighborhood empowerment organizations, and due to manipulation by outside forces, they became gang organizations. But they were no different from the Moorish Science Temple. They were no different from many of the early Pan African organizations that were mainly concerned with keeping the neighborhood safe. and protecting our people from racial oppression. All right, but family, let me know your thoughts. You know, there's so many thoughts that this 24 hours of carnage has brought to us. Hopefully, that we can learn from these instances and don't allow them to use black on black crime as an excuse to kill us, because they will just point to us and say, well, look, um, you killing 18 of your own people in one day. All right, so we killed 18, and the police force killed countless others. You know, let me know your thoughts in the comments below about all of these dynamics. One love.